The last important documents I want to talk about relate specifically to the robot game itself. The first of these documents is the robot game rulebook. This is I don't want to say the only, but this is the primary source of truth you have for the robot game rules. Uh, First Lego League will put out videos. The videos are considered supplementary to the robot game rulebook. And they release other things that may be supplementary, but the primary source of truth is the robot game rulebook. The other primary source of truth is going to be the updates. And so we'll talk about the updates more toward the end. But starting off with the robot game rulebook, you will get paper copies of this when you pay your registration, but there will also be digital copies available at challenge release. And those copies, again, are going to be available on the resource library webpage that we've mentioned a few times now, but this is where you can go to find this and all your other resources. So a few things about the rule book. It's got here at the beginning the welcome, the same core values, the same overview, just the one pager though. But I do want to talk about some of the core ideas with the robot game here while we have it. And so looking on this page, we'll make sure we highlight anything important. So the team is building a Lego robot, and the keyword is that it is going to operate autonomously. So when you compete, you won't have the computer with you. All the programs have to be on the brick. If you're using an older robot like the Mindstorms EV3, one of the sensors for it is an infrared sensor with a remote control. You can't use the remote control. So the robot has to do everything autonomously. And each match is 2.5 minutes. During a competition, you will play in 3 matches, and that's what we'll use to figure out what your highest score is. You will also get a practice match in the morning. So during the match, your team will earn the points as you complete the missions. The missions are the things that are represented by the Lego models. So you'll pay your registration fee, you'll pay for your challenge set, and that will include these mission models. It's very important that you build your mission models correctly, and the building instructions for those are hosted either directly or indirectly at the URL that we've mentioned a few times now. But these missions can involve manipulating objects, activating mechanisms, or moving items. So there's a bunch of things that the robot can do with the various missions. During the matches, you will be launching the robot from designated launch areas. We'll come back to that. There's a lot more detail there. So part of the process your team's going to have to go through is to strategize and determine how to approach the missions. There's no prescribed order. You can do the missions in any order. You can do some of the missions or all of the missions. Part of the challenge is for your team to develop this strategy to figure out how are you going to tackle the robot game. And that may inform your robot design process as well. We score missions at the end of the match. So it is possible that you unscore a mission later in the match that you accomplish at the beginning of the match. So it's very important that we be careful when we plan our mission and our routes, because the referees are not scoring during the match. All scoring happens at the very end of the match unless there's some condition, and they'll state that in the mission if there is. Like I mentioned, at a competition, you will have 3 matches to show what you can do. Your goal is to get your highest score possible, but only your team's best score counts. And then ties are broken using the second and third best scores. So the most important part of this is your high score. And so during the matches, right, we're looking for gracious professionalism, and the referees will evaluate your gracious professionalism in every match. And so those contribute to your 3 sets of gracious professional points, which count on your core values score overall. So this is kind of the overall idea here. There is one kind of core tenet that is not listed here that will probably come up later. And as you're reading through the manual, you'll want to keep this in mind, but to pay attention to what the rules say, but also pay attention to what they do not say. The rules are very specific about what is and is not against the rule. And if it's not explicitly stated, it's probably okay. So that's one of the things you want to keep in mind, is to kind of read between the lines. And this will, I think, wrap up this video. I'm just going to check a couple more things. Oh yeah, we do have our getting started we want to talk about before we dive in any deeper. So like I mentioned before, make sure you build your mission models to the instructions. If you don't have them right, that's going to cause trouble. You have to decide whether you're going to practice on a field mat, on a table, or on the floor. You can build an official table to the specs. That document is available on the resources page. There is a video that describes how to set up the field for the start of a match. That's going to be included in this playlist, and that's coming from First LEGO League. You've got the missions and rules sections of the guide, as well as the robot game missions video. And so the robot game missions video includes a lot of the same information that's in the missions and rules, but keep in mind that of the two, the missions and rules is going to be more informative and more important in a lot of cases. Check for updates. There will be updates periodically throughout the season, and you will want to pay attention so that you know if you are following the latest version of the rules. The rules can change depending on what happens. There is an official scoring calculator that is posted. It's also available at the URL that was linked, that's linked in below. And there's also several other resources at that page too. That is going to wrap us up for kind of the intro here. In the next video, we're going to start looking at some of the definitions and other rules.